Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have this time is the Takayuki Grand Chef Petit 150mm knife. So this knife construction is mono steel, so it's just one piece of steel, that's cut and shaped and ground down to shape and size. And the steel is a Bowler N685. You can read a little bit about that on the web page. It's a Swedish steel. It's very, very good kitchen steel. It will take a really, really nice edge, and it's pretty easy to sharpen. The heat treat's about 60-61 Rockwell on that. So it's a really good combination of characteristics for kitchen knife steel. Weight on these is pretty light because it's a wah handle, and the handle material is light, which is actually good for the balance point on this, but about 56 grams or 2.0 ounces on this particular one. The handle's an octagonal, what's known as magnolia wood or hoe wood. It's very light, and then it's got a buffalo horn ferrule on it. And you can kind of take a look at that. You'll typically have a little bit of a step here. That's kind of normal. So there's a little bit of a raise where you hit the wood from the ferrule on this. And then it looks like they've got a nice glue up job right here where it goes into the handle. So that's sealed up nicely. So the handle is light, which helps bring the balance point forward. So because this blade's pretty light, so there's your balance point just behind the choil, back of the blade here. So very neutral feel in hand. It's not a particularly tall blade, but we'll look at that in a minute. Edge length is right about 150 millimeters or 5.9 inches, almost 6 inches. And then the overall length is a little over 11 inches or about 283 millimeters. Spine thickness, it's a fairly thin blade, although it's got a little bit of stiffness, especially in the back half. The spine, I got about 1.95, roughly about 2 millimeters right here, and then about 1.65 halfway down. And then it actually tapers a bit as the grind kicks in, so it's quite thin at the tip. Camera can't even see it, it's so thin. So it's very thin at the tip, and then here is the edge, so it's quite thin at the edge. It's a high performance grind here. Height is not too tall. It's about 29.5, so it's not particularly tall. There's not a lot of room for your fingers there. You got to be a little careful. You're going to use it on the board or maybe hold it off the board a little bit. You'll see on these the handle may have a little bit of a gap there between where the tang starts and the handle starts, and that's kind of a normal stylized choice, sometimes called Tokyo style. So exposing that, called maki, right there is it's not a mistake. It's just a stylized presentation. So nothing wrong with that. It's not incorrectly done. Let's see here. Let's do our beauty shot. Fit and finish is nicely done on these. A little tricky with the lighting, figuring out what we're going to do here. Let's do that. So you'll see vertical finish marks on the blade, and then the right side of the blade you've got some etched in kanji right there, and then here's the left side of the blade, just plain. Got a few fingerprints on there, but that's just me handling the blade. The camera is not behaving today. There we go. Now, again, a few fingerprints on there. I'll wipe those down before I put it back in the box. Sharpness, I'll give this one a 5 out of 10. The front half is definitely sharper than the back half, so could use a little bit of work out of the box. Again, fit and finish is nicely done. The choil back here has got a little, it's a little sharp, maybe at the right side here for right-handers is more relieved than the left side, so if you're a lefty like me, you might want to relieve that edge just a little bit back there, but the spine's nicely done, so it's just nice fit and finish on this. If you choose to use this on the cutting board, which a lot of people do, they use it kind of for a general utility knife. This is what the edge profile looks like. So it's got a little bit of a stop at the back. You can get fairly aggressive on rocking this before the tip wants to dig in. Again, not a lot of room for your fingers there, a little bit, depending on, but you can always move it off the edge of the board or scoot your board to the edge of the counter if it's not a very tall board, and get a little wiggle room for your hand if you want to use this for general purposes. So just a real nice fit and finish, great steel, all stainless, lightweight, nimble. This is the Takayuki Grand Chef Petty 1 50mm knife from Chef Knives to Go.